It's time for Yogi and the Beach Man. Hi, I'm Jim the Yogi.
And I'm Rick Beach, the Beach Man.
We're two Michigan transplants now living in Southwest Florida. I like to meditate.
And I like to play bass in a band.
I'm into chanting Om.
And I'm into throwing down some classic rock.
But together, we're on a mission
to promote people that are helping other people.
We want to make the world a better place.
One conversation at a time.
So sit back.
Turn up the volume.
And get ready to laugh.
Because we like to have fun
while we spread the love. Welcome back to this week's episode of Yogi and the Beach Man. Today we are finishing up our Yogi and the Beach Man Uncensored Part 2. I know it's been long awaited. You guys have been wondering when it's going to drop. Well, here it is.
We've had requests.
Yeah.
Requests for just the two of us.
Just the two of us. We have.
Talk about our stuff.
Yeah. So what's new with you?
Nothing. Been busy news week.
It has.
Yeah.
We'll get into that for sure.
Just
and your personal life. I haven't seen you. You know, a lot of you probably don't know, but we live like a mile and a half, and pretty much the only time we see each other is holidays and
podcasts.
And podcasts. And we hardly ever talk. So what's new?
I have a major announcement, but I can't announce it publicly, but I'll tell you when we're done.
Okay.
There, I'll write it down.
All right.
That's why I can't announce it.
Oh, okay. That's exciting.
And
we'll be able to share that news in a couple weeks, I'm sure.
I realized that I'm up to like 180 pounds when my 34s were a little tight.
Uh-oh.
And then I went to Publix and there I was.
How'd that happen?
Well, bread and potatoes and...
I thought you were eating healthy.
I do eat healthy.
Bread and potatoes aren't healthy.
No, just more than normal.
No, okay. All right.
I'm sure I eat less bread and potatoes than the normal person by probably 60%.
Yeah.
But anyway, so now I just gotta...
Now I got something to work on.
Yeah, 5-6 pounds.
Yeah. I lost 5 pounds since I got here, and it's been difficult. First off, I fluctuate 5 pounds in a day, but you know, that 5 pound fluctuation was like 163 to 168 when I got here. Now it's 157 to 152. Man, it's I don't know. Get a little older, it just gets tough to shed those pounds.
I like being right around 170. If I'm under that, I feel too skinny.
You're taller than me though. You're what, 5'10"?
Pretty close.
Pretty close, 5'9"ish.
And I have 0.7. I don't know. 5'9".
Yeah, I'm only 5'7", so.
Okay.
And those,
that's about right.
What is it? Is it 10 pounds per inch or 5
know.
pounds per inch? I don't know. Anyway, we're both overweight now.
The Tigers are playing good baseball. Best record in baseball, I think.
Panthers won the cup.
Yeah.
Way to go, Florida and the Rats. Yeah.
And baseball's fun this year. Lots of good baseball. You want to talk baseball?
No.
I like baseball.
Nothing about it. They wear gloves. 3 guys play at a time, basically. And yeah, it's kind of boring.
Well, depends on how you look at it.
It is. I mean, I know all the strategy and stuff, and I've gotten into it before, but overall, it's like not like hockey where there's so much action. So.
But it's different action.
Mm-hmm.
It's like baseball's cool because you can like have a conversation during it. You don't have to be glued to it.
You could play a whole different game. You could play anything. Card games. There's all kinds of stuff you could do while baseball's going on. You won't miss a thing.
Right.
You could bowl.
That's what it... Right. That's why it's the best game.
Okay.
Like if you're watching a Stanley game, what they won in 6, right?
Yeah.
So game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals.
Mm-hmm.
With the sound off, hockey doesn't do as well.
I like not having the sound on when I watch it. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm in a bar or something. I like listening to Stanley, but baseball, I find I can have music on and have a conversation and people over and just the game's on.
Yeah. I mean, because we don't get Hockey Night in Canada, they're the only good announcers.
Bob Cole and Harry Neal.
Most people don't know. Hockey announcers aren't very good anymore. But anyway, yeah. So I've been starting my food forest. I've been out. I put in a couple avocado trees that I got from Risa. I got some stuff at a local nursery. I watched this video on YouTube about the 10 plants you should grow in Florida.
I think I saw that guy.
Because they grow super easy. You can abuse them. And they're super nutritious. They grow like crazy. So
Especially this time of year when it rains every day.
yeah, yeah. So I've got a couple plants off that video. I can't remember Katuk, and I can't remember the other name of them. Got my sweet potatoes growing in the raised bed garden now. I started watermelon. I'm gonna plant it along the side of the house.
That's cool.
I'm excited about it, and I'm really thinking about doing the worm composting
Well,
after talking to Kathy Nesbitt.
well, you need to just know that I'll take any overflow.
I'm sure you will. Did you get a banana today?
I didn't.
Uh, yeah, Rick gets paid in bananas every time he comes over. He gets a
Well, you
free
always get.
banana.
Well, sometimes I come over hungry,
Yeah,
which I'm not so right now, but then I usually grab a banana.
yeah.
I'll go get one though.
So what do you think? What do you think about this week and what's been happening in the world?
Uh, it's just kind of total insanity.
Isn't it?
I didn't think that, but now I'm more confused because there's so many things that could be going on. But just Trump was pretty much the peace guy, and then I don't know, he just got his strings pulled by Netanyahu.
Yeah, what's up with that?
And next,
Um,
I'm not sure how it's going to play out because,
I'm going to stop the war in Ukraine in one day. I don't want any new wars, and now we're in a new war.
well, according to the news today, we're not. It's a ceasefire, and but I haven't really seen what's gone on in the last few hours, and that's how fast shit's going, changing over there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
And then you gotta filter through the propaganda, so you can't watch corporate news, so you gotta get independent sources, and that's difficult
Hmm.
sometimes. So anyway,
Yeah,
it so right as of now, there's supposed to be a ceasefire between everybody, well, between Iran and Israel.
yeah. That probably won't last long. I hope it does. I'm all for peace. There's no doubt about it. But Netanyahu seems to be on a mission.
Until he goes, this will never end.
So I watched Trump talk about, the first missile strike on the nuclear facilities in Iran. Did you watch that?
The 3 minute speech,
Yeah.
I did.
Did you notice anything when they stopped and they ended?
Well, I didn't, but we could pull it up and watch it.
We
But
should,
I
because
did
I think.
notice that Marco Rubio looked like petrified, like he was scared for his life.
What about JD Vance? Did you look at
He-
him?
yeah, I checked out all three of them. Hegseth looked like a serial killer, and Rubio looked petrified that Hegseth was gonna like stab him in the temple with an ice pick. And JD, I think, was just pretty stone cold.
He looked pissed to me, like he was not
Well,
good.
he's the peacemaker of them, maybe. I'm not sure if I trust JD. Now I don't know
I don't know if you could
I
trust
don't really
any.
know who to trust, but uh
He just
what
looked upset about the whole thing to
yeah.
me, his body language.
So what about the end?
So in the end, they finish and they turn, and their body language is all slumped over, heads hanging down. And I'm like, okay, they're coming out like this is our proudest moment. We took away Iran's nuclear facilities, and then they walk away all slumped over with their heads down, like they're ashamed.
Well, maybe
So, and that made me think, did he like, did this happen despite what he wanted? In other words, is the deep state really controlling this? And then Trump was like, okay, I got to jump on top of this in a positive spin and come out with this speech. But I felt, and I don't know what to believe about him. He's supposed to be the peace president. Now all of a sudden we're, he's getting us involved in this war, which we have no business being in.
well, he said after he comes up with that 3 minutes, hey, we put all your bombs, we blew up your three nuclear sites. Thank you for letting us blow your shit up. Now let's be friends.
Yeah. Now
That's
let's go to the table.
that's like beating your wife until she loves you.
Yeah, that's a yeah,
Okay,
awful
but
simple
I've
analogy,
heard
but
this spin. Check this out.
okay.
So Trump gets ahead of the bombing by getting a back channel to Iran and say, "Hey, Iran,
Hmm.
I got to do this shit
Yeah.
to your nuclear plants
Hmm.
so that, and this is not my theory, it's just an aggregate of other things that I've heard. Israel thinks that we're blowing your shit up. And then Iran says, okay, can you give us like 4 days to get our shit out of there?
Uh-huh.
And they take their nuclear stuff, whether they have it or not.
Yeah.
And there's evidence of this.
Hmm.
There's semi-tractor trailer convoys in and out of these facilities 2, 3, 4 days prior to the blowups.
Okay.
So this is not an unevidenced theory.
Yeah.
So they pull this shit out, put it wherever it goes. I'm sure we know. Then we tell Netanyahu's all pissed because he wants us to go, kill people for him.
Hmm.
And Trump says, "All right, man, I'm gonna go get him."
Okay.
So then he goes and blows up their shit. In the meantime, the Iranians know that they're kind of working with Trump to set up not Netanyahu to be the douchebag.
Hmm.
That
And,
there's some evidence that that is the case.
yeah. And it's interesting that every time Iran has bombed or sent missiles into one of our um, bases in the Middle East, he's always given a warning. Even when he bombed Israel, here's where my drones are coming from. Here's when.
Who's he? Who?
The Ayatollah in Iran has always given
Oh yeah,
a warning that
yeah.
it's
Before they
never.
retaliated from that other, they said to us,
Yeah.
"Hey, we're gonna blow this shit up.
Hmm.
We're gonna miss on purpose, but we gotta blow some shit up." No one was killed, and they do that to save face, which I have no problem with. That's just how, I guess that's how
I have problems
international
with it. I think
politics
it's
works.
freaking stupid. Why do we need to be dropping all these bombs? They can't be good for the earth.
But on a different tangential topic, sure, that I'm sure it's not. But the I don't know. What do you think? Is that possible that that Trump and the Iran, so our blow up was
Anything.
really just it was just basically for show to get those guys. Okay, so now he can tell Netanyahu, hey, Yahoo, I blew up their nuclear shit, so you need to quit blowing their shit up, right? That's the only reason he said he was
You
doing
know,
that.
everything's a possibility. Also, I mean, a lot of people don't understand this is that our missiles, our bombs, and these different things have shelf lives. Nothing lasts forever. So eventually you got to use them. You're either taking the warhead out and launching the missile or decommissioning that bomb or whatever. But that's why we launched nuclear missiles when I was on a submarine. The missiles were getting to the end of their shelf life. We went into port, take the nuclear warheads out, go out and launch the missiles. So if you got these big
Really?
bunker, yeah,
So you were on board while they vertically launched?
yeah, two
Uh,
ICBMs.
no kidding.
Yeah,
So what happened to it then? What would
they hit the target. Is that what you mean?
well, they didn't hit any target.
Yeah, they did. They just take the warhead out. They don't take the everything out of it. Yeah, we sent them to a target.
Oh, so you're aiming at like the place in Utah or something.
No, it's not inside the US. It's in some island out in the middle of
On the
nowhere in the
Pacific or
ocean, in the
something.
Pacific. Yeah. Yeah.
So you pick a deserted island
Hmm.
and see if we can blow it up with a no nuke warhead with a ICBM because it's just gonna
Well, it lets us know how good our stuff
right.
is,
It's
and
the
it
target practice.
and there's again shelf life on this stuff. You got O-rings and all kinds of different things on a missile
Well, yeah, for sure.
they only last so long. Yeah. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying, if you got bunker busters that are coming up on their end of life, maybe they've never been dropped before. Maybe it was an opportunity to go out and see what those babies do. We were in speaking of bunker busters, Abby and I were at a
Hold on,
cottage.
Jim.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, what's the shelf life of a bunker buster missile? We'll ask Grok.
Doubt if it knows. It's probably not published anywhere. But yeah, while you're looking that up.
Yeah.
So Abby and I were up at a cottage when we were living in Song in the Morning Yoga Retreat up in Gaylord, and it's on Opal Lake. And we're sitting there maybe 20 minutes. All of a sudden, the whole cabin is shaking, like there's a freaking earthquake. And I'm like, what was that? And they're like, oh, over at the Gaylord's got a big range where they drop missiles for testing, and
Right.
they were testing bunker busters over there, dropping them
Really?
out of planes, and you could see them come down, and the whole ground just shakes. Just it's insane, and they're so loud,
That
and that
can't
was
be good for
miles away.
things.
No, it's not good for things.
Yeah. I didn't know if
Yeah.
like you're just a squirrel hopping through the woods and then you get like a magnitude 4 around the Richter scale earthquake just happening,
Yeah,
shaking up your trees and shit.
yeah, exactly. It's just insane.
On a local note, Dean's, south of the border,
Yeah.
Icon and Punta Gorda for literally ever. The best rock and roll joint in town within 20 miles. It's the best, really the coolest bar and the place to be, the place to play if you're in a band. That's, man, if you get to play at Dean's, that was a cool place to play.
Yeah.
And yeah, they just announced today, July 6th is their last day. They're closing.
Permanently, right?
That
Yeah.
sucks.
Actually, I heard
I'm
that.
emotionally attached to that bar.
Yeah, but yeah,
We've played there
it's
at
just too
least
bad they have just
30, 40 times.
crappy food. I mean,
But you know what you get there? You get
crap.
Dean's. Yeah,
Yeah.
you go
But
there
if
and you
there's no
drink.
band,
You go
okay.
there and drink, and there's bands every night, and they're always rock and roll bands and really good talent. And
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
you want to go have lunch in the afternoon, there might be a duo or a single guy playing guitar and singing, but there was
Hmm.
always music at Dean's.
Yeah.
I ate there one time
Hmm.
ever,
Same. I
and it
won't eat
was
there again.
last time the band played there
Okay.
because I went there starving and I had to eat something. I ordered a
Yeah.
cheeseburger, so now I can say I ate there one time.
I
After
got Mexican because it's a Mexican restaurant. How was the cheeseburger?
it was good. I've seen their
Oh, that's good.
cheeseburgers before. You don't really know what's in their Mexican. It's not really the cleanest place.
Yeah.
That's why. That's why I didn't eat there ever. I was just. Oh, I remember we had a gig at 7, and I'm getting ready to leave at 5:30 to go, and the sky opened up, and it rained so hard for 30 minutes.
Oh,
I didn't get there till 6:30, and
yeah.
usually I'm there by 6, and but it was like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a rain delay.
So did getting back to this whole kind of skipping around though, did you see Tucker Carlson talk to
Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz?
Yeah, he was a little snippy with them.
He got a little snippy with him, but it was very revealing in some ways, and I wonder how prevalent this is. Uh, and I was at an appointment today, in fact, and some guy starts bringing up this bombing and stuff, and he's like, "Well, I hope I'm a Christian, and I hope they finally do it because the Bible says that place is going to be annihilated, and we gotta do it."
We
I'm
got to
like,
do what?
wow, annihilate Iran because that's what it says in the Bible. Yeah, and he's a Christian, so that's what he believes has to happen.
Well, I don't think it says that anywhere in the Bible.
So Ted Cruz, did you hear his
Yeah,
part
I
about
did.
what he believes about the Bible?
Well, what he said, and well, Tucker just destroyed him. He
Well,
could have never said that. He knew the minute that came out of his mouth that that was a bad, bad thing to say, and that
he
Tucker
doubled
was
down
gonna.
on it.
Well, true.
Totally doubled down on it. But how many other of our political leaders have the same idea that the Bible says that the Jewish people are the chosen ones and that we need to do everything to support the Jewish people?
I have no idea, but
That's
I
insane.
don't know if anybody has. I don't think they're that deep philosophically.
I sure hope
I think
not
that's
because
just all a cash grab
for
and an intimidation thing by the deep state to keep
well,
the eternal war machine
mhm,
rolling.
yeah.
I don't think any of them are that moral that they're going that they think that demented interpretation of the Bible is leading them down this path of goodness, or they
I hope not. I really hope Trump doesn't think
no.
that way. I mean, last time what he did something in what he moved something in Israel.
I
What was it?
think that the whole thing.
Whole religious thing.
I don't think. Well, oh, they move in the capital.
Yeah.
What- I
I don't
forget.
even remember exactly what it was now, actually.
Yeah,
It's
they moved the
slipping my mind.
capital. I don't either. I don't keep up on them. I don't.
What do we have? Why do we have the control in Israel to move the capital?
We we don't. They want. We just had to endorse it. I don't know enough about it,
Insane.
but who cares really?
Yeah. But why are we fighting this war for Israel? Makes no sense.
Oh well.
And for Ted Cruz to come on and say they're the chosen ones, that's why I got into politics, was to be able to support Israel. That's messed
And there
up.
was another Trump Defense Department spokesman, I think, that said, "Hey, this is the greatest country in the world. Well, but next to Israel."
Next to
It
Israel.
was a chick, one of the, I'm pretty sure Defense Department spokeswoman. And we're like, really? Why are we that? I mean, I'm pretty isolationist now. After 9/11 and the weapons of mass destruction and
Hmm.
7 countries in 5 years.
Good thing we went in there and got all those weapons.
Yeah, well, hey man, we were all lied to. We know it. I
Yeah.
mean, well, and Tucker was, you know, he was a big supporter of that, and he's a big enough man to say, "Hey, I was wrong.
Hmm.
I bought the propaganda, I bought the lies, I bought all of it." But so did I,
Yeah.
frankly, at the time.
Yeah.
And but yeah, screw that. That's that part of our foreign policy just being joined at the hip and just supporting them. They're richer than we are,
Right.
and we
Yeah.
send
They don't
them
have a,
money.
we're sending them money even though we have this $1 trillion deficit and
All
they have a deficit surplus. It's like,
all the
or
missiles that they're
economic
lobbing over into
surplus.
Iran are uh, we paid for them.
Yeah, our tax dollars. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
They
out.
don't even pay us for them. It's insane.
So we'll see how it all ends up. I don't know. I think it's still wheels in motion. But if there was that back channel deal that with Trump did with Iran to get rid of Netanyahu, then it's going to look pretty smart.
And my other question again is the deep state pulling the strings and Trump's just going, what the heck? You know? I mean, they've only got what, 2 guys in the Pentagon, 2 guys in the FBI. I mean, how much power do you really have? This deep state war machine's been going on
Oh, for
how
sure.
many years, no matter
Well,
who's president.
this is our only chance. This is our last chance to have it at least slowed down significantly.
That's what some people are saying, the last chance. But
It really
yeah,
truly is. Who could do that other than a total outsider? It can't happen. Any
I don't even know if
lifelong.
it can happen. I don't know if
No,
they have enough people to make that happen.
it probably won't happen. But if it is going to, it has to be from someone from the outside coming in who doesn't have 30-year ties to the money launderers and the criminals that are really the money people behind all this. It has to be someone like Trump coming in and doing it or not doing it. And you
And
know,
what's he gonna do? I mean, the last time they,
well, he's doing it. He did it with all the Doge cuts, stopping the border
what's going on
crisis.
with Doge? That's kind of over. Elon's out.
Well,
You don't hear anything else about it.
no,
They
it's
were going to go to they said the
definitely on the
next
back
step is to go
burner.
to the Pentagon. That's not
That no,
happening.
that didn't happen. But I don't. Is
Nope,
it not happening? I don't know.
I doubt it.
Aren't there other people? There's still other people. That is still happening.
Yeah,
At least I think it is. Unless you know it isn't, I'm not going to say it isn't
yeah.
because I don't know.
I don't know. It's just you don't hear about it now. I
Well,
mean,
him and the Trump and Elon got in a fight.
right.
So then Elon wasn't out there getting the headlines every time he opened his mouth.
Oh, and Elon said that Trump was hang what I don't remember I don't want to misquote, but something about his interactions with Epstein
Yeah, that's why he said something like that's why the Epstein files aren't released because he's on it.
because he's
Uh,
on it. Yeah. Yeah.
no evidence has ever come up that that's the case.
Yeah. Just flight logs that he was on the plane.
We've talked about this before.
But you said it was all his family with him, and it wasn't. There was times when he flew with in those on those flights without his family.
How many times?
Twice.
And who else? I mean, who? I think he went to a Miss America pageant or something on that plane.
That's
So
interesting.
all I'm saying, there's been zero evidence, and if there was one shred that there was anything going on with him with anyone underage on the plane or on the island, you'd believe me,
I don't think
you'd
he's ever
know
been to
about
the
it.
island. I don't think there's any evidence of that.
Okay.
Just the plane trips.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so he got all them rich people and they all live in Manhattan and they all fly around together. And sometimes they would go on each other planes. So is there evidence of wrongdoing on the other two? that I'm not even sure happened because I haven't checked it out?
Well,
Is there any evidence of wrong that he did anything inappropriate?
obviously speculation. I mean, if there's any serious evidence, but I mean,
So
to
no,
me,
none.
to
So is
me,
that what you're saying? That so there's no evidence that you know of?
no direct evidence other than the flight logs that says he was on those planes with a guy that sets up pedophile encounters for rich people. I mean, why else do you fly in his plane? He's got his own
Maybe to
plane.
get from.
There's a lot of planes. He knows a lot of people. And he's got to fly in Epstein's plane? I don't buy it. Not for a
So,
minute.
so you think
Not for a
so
minute.
you think Donald Trump hung out, who always had a supermodel on his arm? Is that what you're thinking? With zero evidence to support it, you're just thinking that. So you're
I
just
mean,
throwing that out there.
if you were flying on Epstein's plane, I'd think the same about you. Sorry.
Okay, but once again,
If I was on
you,
Epstein's
you
plane, I
only
think
have
people would be looking at me too, right?
okay, and then
Just
what you
saying.
would say, is there any evidence that I did anything? Because I didn't do
Okay,
anything.
yeah.
How do you prove a
Okay.
negative then? How would he
It's
what
not going to be proved. There's just, in
right
my mind, a high probability that something happened there.
with zero evidence, just your
Just a
hunch.
high probability.
Okay,
That's not a hunch. He's
no,
on the flight log.
that's just silly.
Okay.
It doesn't follow any logical rules. It sounds that that's like something a woman would, the way a woman
Oh,
would
come on.
think.
Come on. Come on.
Just
Okay.
he has a
He's
feeling.
hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein.
I,
He's flying on his plane,
man, I wish
which
I
is
was more up on all this
known,
because it's
which is
wait, stop,
absolutely known.
stop. One thing at a time. Hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein.
Mhm.
What wasn't well, I'm pretty sure, and I'm not an expert on all this Trump Epstein stuff because I don't think Trump had anything to do with any of it, so I really don't give a shit.
Where's your evidence?
My evidence of nothing.
Yes.
Isn't it the other way around? Like
Yes.
the U.S. Constitution, get innocent.
Well,
Till
no, not in this country.
I mean, what are you
You're
talking
guilty till
about?
proven innocent. If you do something, you go to jail, you wait for your trial,
What
and
do you,
you're guilty till proven innocent.
that is that's just not the case.
It's the
Isn't that
case in
why
a
we
lot
have
of
a
cases.
bail system and personal recognizance bonds and stuff?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes you get that.
Okay, so who would get what would be the type of
Anyway,
person that would not be able to get out of jail on a bond? Most of the time, I would assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, if it's somebody very violent or recurring offender or would put life or property damage to others in imminent danger if that person was released, that person would be a danger to society. That person should not get a bond and should be held in like if he were suspected of murdering someone or serial raping. But the guy who, throws a brick through the gas station window because the guy, for whatever reason, he's going to get out on $1,000, isn't he? Doesn't that happen routinely?
yeah, well, for a lot of people, not everybody.
So that made you say that everyone's guilty till proven innocent
Not everyone. A lot of people in this country are treated like a criminal until proven innocent.
by whom?
Court system.
No, I believe that the legal system is far from a justice system.
Yeah.
That once you get in that black hole of state-sponsored kidnapping,
Yeah.
that but that's different. That's the policy for everybody. So
Oh,
I'm
the
not sure
policies,
what
the
you're
justice
saying.
aren't the same for everybody in this country.
Right. If you're a poor, if you're of lower income status, chances
Yeah.
are you're not going to be able to hire an attorney,
Yeah.
a high-powered lawyer. But that's
Yeah.
just right capitalism.
Yeah.
No, really. I mean,
More to my point.
what would be the way? How would you solve that?
Oh, I don't want to go into how I solved that. I don't know the answers to that. I'm not an expert in it for sure. Don't claim to be. Don't
Okay.
know. Don't know. But
But for the most part, constitutionally speaking, I think that most of the time, especially in violent crimes, people aren't guilty till proven innocent. That's why you can't. That's why cops just can't come up and ID you for no reason.
yeah, that never happens.
Never happened to me. I know it happens.
Yeah. It's also against the Constitution to just go ahead and bomb another country, isn't it? Without congressional support.
Yeah, probably. I think that War Powers Act, I'm not sure exactly how it works. I think you just have to get congressional approval within 90 days.
So you can bomb them and then
I
get
think so.
approval later. So what if you don't get approval? You can't
I
take
think
the
it's all,
bombs back.
hey, I think it's all unconstitutional. We haven't had declared war since Japan. So
Seriously? Even on Iran and Afghanistan?
never.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So we
so
did all that in Iran
everything,
and
nothing,
Afghanistan
no, never, ever have
and
we
never
declared war.
declared war on them.
Not no
Then
Vietnam,
why did
no
Bush come out and say the
no
war is over?
Korea. Huh?
Bush made that big deal on the back of the aircraft
Right.
carrier when
I,
the
I
war
don't,
was over.
that beats me. I don't,
Oh,
I'm
weird,
never a
weird
fan of
world.
him. I never voted for him. That was on my string of like three or four or five libertarian only candidates.
Yeah,
It started in 2008 with Ron Paul. That's what he won me over. And then after that, I called myself a recovering Republican
yeah.
because then I went total hardcore libertarian and
Hmm.
still am. So what, 17 years?
17 years of a libertarian, then voted Republican. I don't know what to think of
Voted Republican when
this last time.
I don't think I did vote Republican. I
You
did
told me you
vote.
voted for Trump.
I don't really consider him a Republican because they don't like him either.
Oh,
But he he's not a rhino. I don't think he's for the war machine, although that remains to be seen.
yeah. Yeah, we can hope and pray he's not, but
Well, one thing's for sure. I mean, if you take I can't even imagine how out of control, at least things would be if Kamala would have won, because the border would still just be pouring in millions and millions of people
mhm.
that we could support.
Did you ever find that clip of Trump leaving his speech or his speech?
No, I'll pull it up real quick.
Yeah, pull it up. Because I think body language says a lot. I mean, even going back to like watching Colin Powell talk about the evidence of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. I mean, he clearly looked like he was lying. He didn't look like he was, confident and believing in what he was saying. Yeah, so skip to the end when it's all over and they praise God and make it about a holy war. Here it is. Look at it. They're all hanging their heads. Every one of them, they're walking slumped out and hanging their heads.
That is
You
kind
don't
of
do that when you're proud of what you just did and you're proud of America.
Marco looks, yeah, something's going on there.
Something's going on there. I'm
There's some
telling you.
serious, yeah, you should go back and watch that if you hadn't seen it.
Yeah, definitely go back and yeah, that last minute of the Trump speech when they walk out, last 30 seconds, whatever, they're all hanging their heads, slumped over like they are ashamed or embarrassed by what just happened.
Well, they probably are.
Yeah, and it just again, I
Especially if they
just
got bit
wonder if they got hoodwinked by the deep state.
or bitch slapped by Trump and got an end around pulled on him with the deal, behind the scenes deal with the Iranians.
Explain that. What are you saying?
Well, I did explain it earlier with the three-way,
Oh,
not,
yeah,
not
but why would they be hanging your head?
maybe they don't know about it.
Trump doesn't know about it?
No, maybe
Trump's
the
hanging his head and
no,
he's
maybe
slumping.
not Trump
Yes,
wasn't.
he was. Play it again. He's hanging his head. All four of them. They're walking out. First thing they do is turn around. Their heads drop. They're slunched over like, oh shit.
I would bet that their answer to that would be, well, we're not happy that we're gonna blow people up.
Well, if you're not happy about blowing people up, don't blow them up. His head drops. He's slumped. All four of them. Same postures.
Hmm.
There's something up there.
That maybe.
Body language says a lot. They're not turning around like, yeah, we're badasses. Like we're the only country in the world that can do what we just did.
Well,
No,
that's true.
they don't look proud of that at all. They looked either they were duped or they're ashamed. And either way, something's wrong there. Because if you're making a decision to go into another country and bomb them, I mean, why? I mean, I guess you should feel regret, right? For doing something like that. But I mean, you made that decision based on all the things he's saying. Then why look
Or
slumped?
or if they're in on the back channel Iranian deal to get rid of Netanyahu, they have to look that way So you'll pick up on it, and they're playing 3D chess, and they hook you right in.
Maybe. But again, look at their faces when they're talking
No,
on
I
that
agree.
screen. And
They're really got
JD Vance looked
they got some.
upset about the whole thing.
There's
No one
some.
looks happy here. And Trump's trying to put
All
a
right.
bouquet of flowers on it. I just don't buy it. I don't buy any of it. Something's wrong here.
Well,
We're getting played. I really believe we're getting played again. I mean, even
and you think what'll happen
what
out of
in
it then?
March,
Then we're gonna what continue send troops on the ground over there, or I
I
mean,
don't
not
know
that
what's
we
going to
don't
happen. I'm
already.
not even want to guess what's going to happen. I think, and I'll get into more of this later, what I think we should do. But in March, our own, what is Tulsi Gabbardt's position?
National Director of
Security, National Director of
Director of
Security?
National
The
Intelligence.
Director of National Intelligence in March, which was what, 3 months ago, came out and said that Iran's not a threat. They're not close to getting a nuclear bomb.
Yep, I know
Three
that.
months ago.
Yeah, I agree.
But all of a sudden, immediately, we got to go to war, and we got to start dropping bombs because
Well,
if we don't, in a couple days, they're going to have nuclear missiles. It's
well,
just
I don't know if
insane.
we ever said a couple of days, but
Netanyahu
not.
said a couple. I think he
Well,
said a couple months or
he's been
something.
saying that for 20 years.
He has the same story.
Yeah.
And that being the case, why would we bite on it here and now?
I remember our
And that just
grandparents
seems
talking
weird.
about Israel being in wars when I was like 6 years old,
Yeah.
saying they're always going to be killing each other. They've been killing each other for 1,000 years,
Hmm.
and they're just going to keep on doing it
Yeah.
with our.
Yeah.
Hey, and if that's what they want to do, it sucks, but it happens. What I don't want to do is pay for it.
You are paying for it.
Oh, of course,
We
no
all are.
kidding.
Why are we paying for this war? Why are we supporting Israel? I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
it doesn't. It's not in a. It's not a Jewish thing.
It's not.
It's an
No.
Israeli thing, and they're formed, but they just like to blow people up. Their government sucks.
Yeah.
Like 40,000 Gazans dead.
Isn't that insane?
The Israeli Defense Force stood down 90 minutes on October 8th, or what was the date of that? The invasion by
Whatever date,
October 10th,
7th or 10th.
8/10 or whatever it was, when all them 1,200 people died at that music festival. The IDF they don't
They were
man,
gone. They were
that is
missing.
the most surveilled country in the world.
Yeah.
And they didn't know that Hamas paratroopers are coming in on hang gliders and
Hmm.
stood down for 90 minutes while the people at that music fest got slaughtered. Please,
Hmm.
I'm out.
Yeah.
They're just.
We got lied to. They got lied to.
Well, I don't think Netanyahu can leave the country. Isn't he indicted for war crimes at The Hague
No idea.
and has to be stay in Israel, so he can't even escape.
It's just
Something
insane.
like that.
Who was it? The guy you told me to listen to came on Joe Rogan,
Dave Smith.
Dave Smith, and talked about Netanyahu and all the evidence that he actually knew this was happening and let it happen. And
Oh, there's no doubt about
even pulling the
that.
guards out. But how do you let that happen? I mean,
How does he let it happen?
how do you let that happen to the people in your own country?
Because you needed a
To
reason
the
to go
women,
in
to the
and just
children.
because you needed a reason to go in and bulldoze Gaza and kill 50,000 Palestinians.
What is wrong with that?
But
Everything.
hey, no, I get that. But yeah, it's a side note. But why doesn't the other Arab countries take these people in? They won't let that, like, they won't let the Palestinians into Israel or Syria or Lebanon or Saudi Arabia or Qatar or United Arab Emirates or Pakistan. None of those neighboring countries
I don't know. Why doesn't Iran take them?
because they don't fit in anywhere.
Why?
They won't take it. Well, they've literally been inbreeding. There's for centuries, and their average IQ is much lower than the surrounding Arab populations. It just
Well, they've lived in an awful situation. Most of them grew up in
well,
poverty,
well,
famine.
agreed, but this isn't something that happened since 1948 when Israel was,
Hmm.
found or not found, but created.
Yeah.
So it's not like that's a 60-year-old phenomenon. That stuff's been going on forever. So, but that's what I've heard through, hey, why the other country? Because they cause trouble.
Hmm.
They are literal troublemakers, and they don't want them making trouble in their country.
I'd probably be a troublemaker too if I lived where they live and
Right. And then why would you
dealt
want
with what they
to?
dealt with.
But then you would be expected to not be let in somewhere if you were a troublemaker.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So you,
But you probably didn't have the foresight to be thinking about that in advance. You didn't know you were going to get kicked out of your home and your country. What an awful thing to happen to anybody,
no, no, I get
regardless of
that.
your IQ.
I get that. But if they want to
Terrible.
evacuate, because didn't Trump say he wants to take that whole Gaza Strip and make it like Trump Plaza?
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Was this a plan he had in motion for a long time ago?
I don't think that that's
Who knows? I mean, it's a
stop.
possibility, right? Why,
Stop.
why
It's
stop?
not
Why can't we
really.
say
Come
that?
on. Come on. It's because it just it's a fallacy. But it is funny though.
Well, you don't know that
It
it's,
is funny.
I mean, it's a possibility. It is totally a possibility.
Okay.
It is. We don't know. I mean, how many other things have we been duped on?
Well,
Tons.
well, for sure.
Tons and tons and tons.
I don't know. I wouldn't put my money
So
on it.
so the world's a mess. You agree? In so many ways. We got
Yeah,
what, 5 countries in war now? Two of them, two of the military, two of them are what, close to being some of the biggest military, if not two of the biggest military technologically advanced countries in the
probably
world.
four of the top, three of the top six.
Oh, and then Russia. Yeah, we got to count them in.
No, they're
That's
one
there,
us
one of the
and
top.
Russia,
Isn't China?
but China ain't in.
Oh, and they're not in the war, yeah, but
And
one of
then
the
you got
top
North
ones. Yeah.
Korea.
Yeah.
They got a big army.
Yeah.
And
So
then
I
you
mean,
got like Iran.
this is like
I think Iran is like fourth.
we're on the brinks of World War III. So what's the
No, we
answer?
are in World War III.
What's the answer here?
You- I don't know. I just quit blowing people up.
Yeah, but how does that happen?
Uh,
I mean,
That that there's a change of
none
that.
of these players have any desire not to do that.
Okay, the Israelis need to get rid of Netanyahu and get a peacemonger in.
Okay, you really think that would change what's happening?
If they got a peacemonger in and they didn't have a warmonger in, that would be a peacemonger would be better than a warmonger, correct?
Any day,
Okay,
in
so
my
that would
opinion.
be that. So to answer your question, that would be the first one of the first steps, and the second would be for Iran's government regime change there too. But that's probably less important than getting Netanyahu out and getting in their Knesset a more prevalent majority of their representatives that also want peace. So the Israelis, they get
I don't think it could stop. I don't think that would stop the war machine, personally. I don't. I mean, it'd be great steps for sure. I mean, I don't think all these wars with Israel that you've been talking about for how many years, 1,000 years, all came from Netanyahu. So I think someone else would eventually just, I mean, even Trump, the majority of the people in this country overwhelmingly don't want war. We don't want to be bombing other countries.
right,
They voted for Trump in a lot of ways because of his no war stance.
which was one of the main reasons I voted for him.
And the first thing he does is, I mean, he hasn't even been in 200 days and we're dropping bombs in Iraq. The war machine lives on.
Unless the big circle jerk I talked about earlier is the case. And then he'll be putting not killing anybody, doing the whole rope-a-dope on the whole world. In the meantime, gets his end game completed, which is getting Netanyahu out so there can
You
be
think
peace
he
in the
wants to get
Middle East.
Netanyahu out?
I do.
Okay.
I 1000% do.
Yeah. I mean, that puts him at such odds with these other lawmakers in our country, like
Right.
Ted
That's
Cruz,
why you would have to do it like on the back channel like that.
that have that same idea that, we got to do everything for Israel. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of people in this country that think
That's
we got to
because
do
they dish out more
everything for
cash than
Israel.
anybody else.
Then why don't they pay off our deficit? We're helping them out so much. Do us something. Why are we sending them money? It makes no sense.
Well,
So, all right.
for sure of that.
So my answer to how this all gets solved is very similar to what the TM meditators did going into Washington. But we need worldwide meditation, and we need it now. We
Okay.
need to change, we need to change the mindset. We need to, I mean, if you could take just meditators meditating together for a month in Washington, D.C., and lower the crime rate by 20%, which they said it would take a miracle to do, and they did it, it had an effect on people to generate more peace. Agreed?
I don't know anything about it. If you say so, I'll take it at your word.
What do you mean you don't know anything about it?
I know we talked about it a while ago with one guest.
Oh, okay. You weren't here when we had the guest on that was actually a TM meditator that was there. Um, but yeah, in Washington, D.C., the TM meditators got together in July, the hottest month of the year in Washington, D.C. They met at a hotel. They did their meditations every day that they do. They didn't do any special meditation. They didn't meditate for 24 hours or have this marathon. They just accumulated 1,000 of them together and said that by doing this, it'll lower the crime rate in Washington, D.C. by 20%.
How'd they come up with that number?
That's
That
the number that their, what was it, Maharishi
he just
said would
okay
happen. And it was actually 22%. So
for what period of time?
the month of July.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. The entire month of
Well,
July, they
that's pretty
lowered the violent
substantial.
crime rate by 22%.
So you think we should teach meditation in the schools?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would probably be a good
I
thing.
think teaching meditation in the schools, teaching kids how to garden, teaching kids how to cook food, and teaching kids that what we eat is what we become.
That would be a great reason for you to run for school board.
I'm not running for a school
That would be a
board.
great reason
I
though.
might start running again though,
I,
but
I hate to run. I literally despise it. I'll walk.
I th
I'll walk 5, 6, 7, 10 miles.
I think the TM meditators have actually figured out an actual number of how many people would need to meditate to create peace on the planet.
And how many?
I bet Grok knows.
Changing
Do TM meditators have a figure that they have determined to have enough meditators to cause world peace on the planet?
Well, you're waiting for
I
that.
gotta edit my
The
voice to text because it got it all wrong.
the This is Spinal Tap movie's coming out for three.
What?
The old
The-
Spinal Tap
oh,
movie.
the old one. I thought it was like a
It was
remake.
remastered,
Wait, quit
reissued,
talking. All right. It's
and
messing up mine.
for 3 days only, July 3rd, 4th, and 5th in theaters. I've been wanting to watch it, and you can't watch it anywhere. It's
Really?
not on Prime, Netflix. You can't buy it.
Maybe I rented it from Blockbusters the last time I saw it, but
Yeah,
I saw it not that long ago.
and
Well,
and
Blockbusters was
Blockbuster,
so
yeah,
long ago, 10
yeah,
years ago
yeah.
or more.
Weapons of Mass Destruction month. Back in 2001, I think they closed the last Blockbuster.
Oh, really?
I don't know. It's been a
The
while.
TM meditators have a figure that they have determined to have enough meditators to cause world peace on the planet.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed Dean's is closing.
All right. It doesn't bother me. I mean, there's other great places to watch music. I like going to All Stars.
All Star's
Um,
fun.
yeah,
They
I
got
like,
good food there.
yeah.
And I've been in their kitchen and you could eat off the floor. So I don't mind eating there.
Okay, so let's see. Transcendental meditation practitioners, particularly those associated with the Maharishi effect, have proposed specific figures for the number of meditators needed to influence world peace. The concept is based on the idea that a relatively small group of meditators can create a positive, coherent effect on society, reducing conflict and negativity. Um, Research associated with TM suggests that if 1% of the population practice TM meditation, it can lead to measurable reductions in societal stress, crime, and violence. For example, studies claim that when 1% of the community meditates, crime rate drops significantly. This has been proven in experiments like the one in Baskin, Baskinta village during the Lebanese War. Goes on and on, but
No, that's pretty interesting. But
1% of our population would be what, 6 million people? 600 million
100
people.
million.
600 million people. I think there's 6 billion people on the planet. How do we get, but their whole thing is they would have to be doing TM meditation, which I don't know. I think maybe. But I think if we just got 600 million people on the planet to meditate, let's sign up. Start
Yeah,
signing up.
get the
We got to pick a day.
treat it like a
Have a
drum circle.
like a drum circle for a full month. Meditate twice a day, morning and evening.
Dude, you have to do all those
600
people
million.
have to meditate in unison?
No, just twice a month. There's that many
No,
people.
no, well, that many, sure. But if you had, how many were in the DC rally?
I think 1,000.
So did they take all those thousand like between 2 and 2:15, or how did that
I
work?
don't think so. I think they each just did their own practice and meditated when they wanted.
But they were physically located in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So they probably gathered in a
I
dealio.
don't think so. I think they just in their rooms did their own thing. It's not like they had like a convention room where they all went to meditate at a certain
You know,
time.
I like picture
With
them all in around the mall, like where Forrest Gump was giving a speech.
yeah. Well, I was surprised. I thought they would be like meditating like massive amounts during the day.
Yeah,
Like all of them would just be
like
in deep meditation for hours and hours. And
on the Jefferson Memorial.
they were like, no, we just did our regular practice that we do every day. I think it's 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there.
So then what would make a difference of whether they was it their physical location that made the difference?
Of them being in Washington, affecting Washington? Is that what you're
I'm
asking?
I'm asking if them meditating at their normal routine, which they did every day, then why
Hmm.
wouldn't that result have happened every day prior to this day or that month of July?
Because there weren't 1,000 of them concentrating that energy in Washington, D.C.
Okay. So they had to have a so they started their meditation with a intent.
I believe so. I mean, they were all there for the intent of lowering the crime rate, right? I mean, that
Uh,
had
uh,
to be on their minds.
okay, but now we go again. Why? But do they have to? I don't think you know the answer. I think I already asked you, but if they
Hmm.
were they all physically in DC and you said yes, and if that's the case, uh, but but I'm saying why does it matter if they could just meditate with that intent, whether they're in Hawaii or El Paso or Detroit?
I think you have a very good point, and I think if they focus their energy on a specific, if they also focus their energy from specific places on the planet into one area,
They
that
would
that is a
it wouldn't
possibility.
matter, but they
But
just happened to be for this event.
well, they did this as an experiment to prove how powerful TM meditation
But
is.
they could have done that without
But
bringing 1,000
okay,
people to Washington, D.C.
yeah, but then people just would, how would you have
It would,
quantified? You know what I'm saying?
well, you can't quantify it even if they are physically
But
there.
I'm saying, okay, you can't like 1,000 of them going there to do this experiment at the hotel. Now you've got, okay, here's something that physically happened, and you know that 1,000 of them gathered together. If you're just saying, oh, 1,000 of us
So,
around the planet somewhere meditated on this.
see, I'd be much more a player on this if you said that, okay, between 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon and 9 and 11 o'clock at night, we're going to meditate and we're going to
Hmm.
have this, and we're all going to do it at the same time. We don't have to be in the same physical room, but if we're in the DC Hilton or whatever, and they get 1,000 people all doing the same thing, and you were saying that this has caused a positive energy zoom or a get rid of the negative out of that place because of those people doing things at the same time, then
Well,
and that happened, and the 22% reduction, I'd say, wow, that's pretty cool.
hmm
But what you're saying is it's just totally random, as if
And I could be
they weren't
wrong
all
on,
there
I could be wrong on, did they
on
do
the.
it at a specific time a day? But what I remember when I talked to the woman, we should have her on again. Um,
Because
and
I
she
think
was,
I was out of town on that trip or something. There was some reason
you went to deliver some furniture for a friend uh, from Michigan, or to get some furniture
oh,
for him or something like
I
that.
had to go to Burry's house.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. So, but anyway, great podcast. So I could be off on maybe they didn't meditate at the
And
same time, but
well,
the
find
facts
out
don't
find out
change.
that well, yeah, they do.
How? I
Well,
mean, they
no,
still
no, no,
lowered the
no,
crime
right,
rate in
right,
Washington by 22%.
but the cause changes, and the cause is what I would be interested in.
The cause was those 1,000
I
meditators coming
understand, but I
together.
don't know how it happened. I mean, you don't know the details, so we should table this until you do. And I would like to know more because it's pretty interesting.
It is interesting, and I think that's, something that can happen on a much larger scale. How do we get 600,000 people to meditate together?
600 million.
600 million. Yes, that's
That's
a lot of people.
impossible.
It's impossible. Why is it impossible?
That's the United States, Canada,
There's a lot of
and
people that want peace
probably
in this
most
world.
of Europe.
Be pretty easy in Asia. A lot of
It
meditators
would
there.
be. Yeah, you could pull it off in India.
Heck yeah. I don't know if you get 600 million. There's not 600 million people in India, is there?
I think there's a couple billion.
Yeah.
Hey Siri, what's the population of India?
It'll work when it's upside down like that.
2024. Population of India was 1,450,935,791.
Wow.
1.5 billion.
That's amazing. That's a
So only a third of them.
That's more than 1/6 of our population is in India.
Yeah, and probably.
Siri, how many people are what's the world population?
In 2024,
8 billion now.
Population was 8,100,000,000.
8.1 billion it's up to. So now we need 800
Hey Siri,
million
what's the population of
meditators.
North America?
2021, the population of North America was 592,296,233.
So we only have in the entire continent 1/3 of the people that India has.
Isn't that amazing?
And 3 billion in China.
Yeah.
I'm hungry. I do. I got pasta waiting for me.
All right.
That's good for
I hope you enjoyed our podcast, and we'll see y'all next time.
Yeah, peace out.
Peace out.
It was fun.
So if you just listen to this podcast and you appreciate the content and the work that we're doing, we would love your support. Look in the comment section of this episode. Subscribe, rate us, comment. This gets our podcast in front of other listeners. And if you noticed, we don't have advertisers. For the cost of a cup of coffee, you can help keep it this way. Become a supporter right now. We'd appreciate it. I'm Jim the Yogi.
I'm Rick the Beach Man. Peace.